Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm back with a different type of video today. I'm actually doing a client makeup transformation. I was tired of seeing my face, so I just thought, why not do a client makeup tutorial? So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to prime, and to prime her skin I'm going to be using the Mercier Pure Canvas Primer, and then I'm going to be taking the Nars Illuminator, and this has been a game changer for me. It just makes the skin look so dewy. She has normal skin, but then she says she has an oily T-zone, so I would say she has combination skin. So I just put the Laura Mercier on her nose, basically in her T-zone, and then I put the illuminator everywhere else because I wanted this to be very, very dewy. I did actually mix the illuminator with my sleek makeup elixir in the shade Sunlit. For brows, I'm going to be using the Missguided Beauty eyebrow pencil. I think it's called Heyyy brow, something like that. And it's their microfine brow pencil, and I'm just gonna lightly fill in her brows. I don't really have to do much because she does have tinted eyebrows and they look pretty good by itself. So I just literally filled in the end a bit and the front. I didn't touch the middle, and then I'm just gonna brush it out and then conceal. And to conceal, I'm going to be using the Makeup Revolution concealer in C12.5. After I've concealed her brows, I'm going to be taking my Bperfect Eyeshadow Primer, and I'm just going to apply that all over the eyelid. I did mix this primer with her concealer. It is, on its own, it is quite white, and I didn't really want a white cast. So I mixed it with a little bit of the concealer, just so it blends nicely into her skin, and then I just blend that onto her eyelid. For eyeshadow today, I'm going to be using my Bperfect Clientele palette, and I absolutely love this palette. This palette just has everything you need. If you are a MUA, I do highly recommend this palette. So first I'm going to take the sandy colour. There were two shades that were quite nude. The first two shades I chose on the palette that I showed. I'm going to be using those as my transition colours, and then I'm going to go in with a brown. And for my brown, I'm actually using the Makeup Revolution bronzer in the shade medium, and that's going to be my main crease colour. And then for my last crease colour, I'm just going to go in with dark brown from that palette, and that's just gonna deepen that crease a bit. I wanted to keep this eyeshadow look more on the soft glam side. I would say this is a soft glam makeup tutorial, so I don't want anything to be too harsh. I wanted everything to blend nicely together, and I think I did a pretty decent job. So then I go back in with that sandy nude colour, and then I'm going to go on top with a very white shadow. It's more of a whitey pink, but on the skin it's more on the nude side. So that's going to be the top off for my lid. And then I'm going to take some black eyeshadow to create my smoked wing liner. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Nars Natural Longwear Foundation, and this is in the shade Macao. Her face is a bit darker than the rest of her body, so I was trying to find the middle between her neck and her face, and then I ended up using Macao. But then as I blended it out, I realized Macao's a bit too dark, so I went on top with Tahoe in the center of her face. You'll see that after I've blended everything out. I went on top with Tahoe. I don't think it was that necessary, but I did want everything to rhyme with the rest of her body, so I went on top with Tahoe, and I just really blended that into her skin. And I really like this foundation because you can make it the coverage that you want. If you want a very full coverage foundation, you can use a brush and just apply more product, and that will give you a full coverage look. But then when you blend out with a sponge, it will give you more of a natural medium coverage look. So I think this foundation works well with pretty much every skin type. For concealer, I'm going to be using the Mercier Flawless Fusion Concealer. I'm going to take 5W, and I'm just going to use this to conceal. I'm not using it to highlight, I'm using it to conceal. And then I'll be going in with 2 concealers to brighten. The first concealer I'm going to use is the Mercier in 4W, and this is going to be my first highlight. And then I'm going to take 6W, I believe, and that's going to be my contour. And I'm going to blend out my contour first, just so my highlight dries down a bit to give it a bit more full coverage, and then I'm going to blend that out last with my beauty sponge. For my second highlight, I'm going to be using the Nars concealer, Radiant Creamy Concealer in the shade Biscuit. And this is just really going to brighten her under eyes and brighten the bridge of her nose. And then to set all of that in, I'm going to be using my Mercier translucent setting powder in the shade Honey. And I'm just going to push that into the skin. I'm not going to bake just yet. Then I'm going to take my Hoola bronzers by Benefit, and I didn't know if I was going to use both or just caramel, but I ended up just using caramel. It is quite the perfect colour for her skin tone. I thought it was going to be a bit too light, but it was actually, it's not too harsh, and that's what I love about the bronzer on her skin. Like, it just looked really, really nice. So I opted for just using the caramel shade, and then I contoured her nose. Then I'm going to take the same setting powder, the Honey, and I'm going to bake her under eyes. And on top of the Honey translucent setting powder, I'm going to take translucent. So there's translucent in the shade Honey, and then there's just translucent. And I'm just going to take translucent on top of Honey, and this is just going to once again brighten the under eyes. Then I'm going to brush off all the excess powder and push the rest into her skin. And then I'm going to take my Gen Nude blush by Bare Minerals in the shade Peachy Keen, and I'm just going to use that on her cheeks. I feel like this blush really suits her skin tone really nicely. It's not too harsh. The setting spray I actually used was the Benefit poreless setting spray, and I take that underneath her eyes too. I'm going to be using a liquid highlighter, then I'm going to be using a powder highlighter. For my liquid highlighter, I'm using a sleek liquid elixir. One of them is called Sunlit, one of them is pink. I can't remember the other one's name, but I'll put it in the description box. And I just mix the two together because Sunlit on its own is a bit too warm, and then the pink one is a bit too light. So I just mixed the two together, and it gave me a really nice shade. Then I go with my Doll Beauty Hall of Fame palette, and that's just to extra highlight. I really applied the smallest amount and blended it into her skin. And now I'm taking my Morphe Continuous Mist just to lock everything in, and I'm just going to line her lips and apply a lip gloss. And yeah guys, this is the finished look. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This look takes approximately 1 hour 20 minutes. Yeah, it took 1 hour 20 minutes and it's quite long, but listen, you can't rush greatness, you feel me? Shout out to my model Nika. If you enjoyed this client series, let me know guys. Make sure you like the video so I know you actually like this type of videos. Comment down below any other suggestions you have. So yeah guys, I'll see you in my next one. Stay blessed, stay safe, and stay prayed up.